I have a Sweet Baby card for you today. It's literally made from the set called Sweet Baby. So how can it be anything but a Sweet Baby card? So, full confession, I have had this bundle for a long time. Pretty much since the catalog came out. I don't know, months. And it's one of those ones that I had a card in my head. You know, you see the set, and I'll let you in on some of my design process. I had the card in my head, and if you follow me on my blog, you know, a lot of times I do, like I take all of the dies in a set and I run them through the Big Shot and I see what they do. Because a lot of Stampin' Up's dies, they don't just cut. A lot of them do, like they cut out the design so you don't have to, which we love that. But a lot of our dies also do different things. So a lot of times, in fact, when I'm operating the way that I like I'm not super busy, I'm not trying to do a camp, whatever, I'm doing it in order, then I get all the dies out, I run them through, and that's the first thing I do with the stamp. So on this stamp set, I had this little itsy bitsy onesie, and I wanted to put it on this little itsy bitsy baby. And so the card was kind of in my head, and I was busy, and I got it out, and I was gonna, cut it all out, and then I get the dies out, and that isn't how it works. Like if you see the onesie and the baby, the onesie doesn't go on that baby. So the dies do cut those out, but there's no way you're gonna cut that onesie out and put it on that baby. So I was busy, it was before a camp, and so I just put it aside. So discouraged. So sometimes if we back it up and we look at the stamps before we get a great idea, it works better that way. So now all these months later, I have gotten the set back out and it's super cute, and the dies do super cute things. My favorite part of it is this little piece here, and it cuts and scores the baby blankie, which, my daughter was attached to her blankie for a very long, very long time. So this is going to have a pink blankie. It's kind of an ode to the pink blankie, which we have lots of pink blankie stories. I'm sure as parents, a lot of you have blankie stories. So that's my favorite part of this set. So I'm going to do the girl card today, and if you haven't seen it, there is a video for the boy card, so there's the boy card as well, so you can go watch that. So let me aim my camera down so you can see what I'm doing, because it's a little bit of a tiny set. Obviously it's a baby. Oh, it looks like my camera's a little crooked. I was probably crooked while I was talking to you. So I don't think anything on this card is from the Occasions catalog. I think it's all, oh no, take that back. The gingham paper is from the Occasions, but everything else is from our annual catalog. Maybe some of the blends colors are from the Occasions. So let's get stamping. There's two pieces to this that we're going to stamp. We are going to make some background paper, and then we're going to stamp our baby. So I'm just, the only ink I'm actually using is Memento. This is not a cling set. If you're watching this later and it has made it into the next catalog, it may be a cling set. Or there's a chance some of the sets I think are transitioning. Mine is not. So you don't realize how much you love the cling until you go back to use one that's not. There's the Sweet Baby. She's so cute. And she doubles for a girl or a boy, depending on what you want what the baby to be. There's the little bow. So these are the ones we're going to cut out with the Big Shot, with the framelits. Okay, and then it comes with several different sayings. This one, that's why I told you it's not a cling set, because it doesn't have the sticker on it. This one says, I didn't put the sticker on it. It says, bring on the bows. Let me just spin it this way. Okay, now I'm going to do the words first. And there's a couple of reasons I do my words first when I can. Partly because a lot of times the image that we can stamp and mess up, more often than not, are our words. It tends to be people rock them, they hold their finger funny, like the first word. A lot of times you can do all of your art and then you do your sentiment, and if you mess it up, then you feel like you have to start all over again. Because if you can't read it, everybody's going to read the card. And if that's messed up, then you really have to start over. And there's nothing worse than going to all the work to doing everything else and then having to do your word, all of it over again because your words didn't work. So if you can start with your words, start with your words. Also on this card, because now I'm going to stamp my background, I wanted to make sure that there was space left for those words. Because once you've done a card once and you know what it's going to look like, or like if we would do this at camp, I would tell them do your words first. Because I know it's important that we leave that long space for the words. So that's just one of the reasons. Because a lot of people start with what they think is going to fill up the card the most first. Okay, and I'm just stamping these randomly all over. And again, you want to fill up all of your space. You don't want to leave empty space, because you don't want it to have a glaringly, obviously empty spot. And the nice thing is our baby's going to go here, so it doesn't matter so much like how the middle of my card looks. And then this die set comes with this really cute little scalloped edge that I'm going to take the bottom of those off with. So I'm going to go ahead and color it because it's a dotted scallop, and it'd be too hard to color once it was cut out because of the dots. So even though I'm going to lose some of it, I'm going to color it. So here's the coloring. I've got pastel colors. I'm going to start with the Highland Heather. I've got the darks and lights. I'm going to show you a little bit how I do this. Move this because I'm probably going to zoom in if I can. So take your bullet tip and on the little folds, and then one little swash here, get some dark. And you don't need to spend a lot of time on that part. It's probably too many purples. That's what I get for talking to you while I'm coloring. You know, it's always easier to do this when you're just stamping and not talking. Although just talking is not as bad as Facebook Live. Facebook Live, while I like it, because I like the interaction, you know, interacting and coloring and stamping and watching the comments, it's a little stressful. So, and then trying to remember colors and trying to remember how much things cost. It becomes a lot of work. And I always feel bad for other people that do Facebook Lives when I see people giving them, I know what they think are helpful critiques. Because once you've gone live and once you're doing it, like you can kind of watch the comments, but you got to just keep going. And if people are over on the side critiquing away, there's really not a whole lot you can do unless you're just going to stop and go on and start over. So there's some purples. Now I have pool parties. Yep, dark and light. Oops, got the wrong tip. This time I'll try to get a fewer of those. So a pool party here, a pool party there, and maybe one down here. And again, you don't have, the shading is not super important because a lot of these are going to get covered up at the end. Wrong tip. At the end, once you put your baby on and the card's all done, if you want to go back and add a little bit of highlights to the bows that are really showing, you could do that. Baby cards are one of those cards that I think get saved. Because a lot of new moms keep them, you know, in their baby book or with the box of stuff that, you know, they keep for the baby. So if I take 5 extra minutes to make a baby card, I think it's well worth it. This is my mint macaron, dark and light. Get those spaced out a little bit better. The purple's not going to end up being too much, I think, partly because that one's going to get mostly covered up. want to make sure that you're blending those so you don't have stripes of color. Okay, and then for our pink, we're using Flirty Flamingo. The pink isn't the color of the papers that we're using. The paper I'm actually using is an Outgoing In color, which is powder pink. And we don't have that in a blend. So if you like this color, you'll want to get it before it's gone. And then this bow that's going to go on top of the baby's head is also going to be powder pink. I mean, Flirty Flamingo. So I'm going to go ahead and color this one while I'm doing it. And then her little collar and her tiny little buttons. Most of hers she's so cute, and most of hers is going to end up being inside of her blankie, but she's so cute that she's fun to color, so color her anyways, and then blend these. It's one of those times that even though Stampin' Up! Has 48 regular colors and 10 in colors that all match, my cardstock isn't matching the colors that are on here. I do have Pool Party, and I do have the Heather, but the actual pinks that I'm using don't match, but they coordinate well enough that you don't even notice. I wanted the pink bows to be a little bit brighter than what the pink blends that we had were, and the Flirty Flamingo cardstock was a little bit too bright. It wasn't such a baby pink. So, you know, you just work with what you have, and I think in the end, it's a nice color mix of colors because there's enough colors that you're going with that you don't really have to worry about it. So there's the bows like that. Now, again, with the yellows, our blend colors of yellows, there's Daffodil, which is kind of bright. There's, the colors are bright. Now, this appears to be a subtle color. It's Pineapple Punch, which is a bright yellow. And I wanted her to have a different color of onesie than what she had bows. So what you're going to do, because I want her to be yellow, but you just brush it on as quick as you can. Otherwise, she has on a neon onesie. But I did want it to be yellow. So there, it's just enough color. And again, she's going to be inside her blankie, so you don't really have to worry about it that much. And then for her skin, because she's a baby, and you know, we have brown babies in my family, so I did consider making her a brown baby. But, you know, we did girls. My generation of, my daughter and her generation of cousins are all girls, but one. And we have a nice mix of brown babies and white babies. But our recent generation of babies, they're all brown babies and they're all boys. So I thought about doing brown babies, but because of my blend color selection for this, it's funny what your art determines sometimes. And I will go back and do a brown baby because brown babies are my favorite. I just was afraid to color her. So I have, this is the light petal pink. And again, I don't want her to be pink and I don't want her to be orange. So just brush barely on her. And you know, babies don't have much hair. So brush the light petal pink over the top of her head as well. And then this is the ivory, which is really our skin color, as well as our bronze, which when I would do the brown baby, I'll do the bronze. But I'm just going to put that up here for her hair. And the bow's going to cover up her hair too. But you know, babies don't have, especially babies in our family, even our brown babies, not tons of hair. So there, she's colored. Now, this is the tip and trick I really want to show you for this card, and it will be in the boy card as well. So in both cards you get to see it. But I don't like when our stuff just sits there. Like, it's just sitting there, and it can be a little bit more artsy. Let's see if I don't, should have gotten a clean piece of paper because I've done this card several times now. So this is what you do to kind of give it some depth and dimension. Oh, here, I covered it mostly up. You're going to take, I'm going to turn it back my way. I've got some copper cord that's in my table. Take your brush tip of your light smoky slate and just wisp around. They don't all have to be the same. They don't even have to be the same. The width, the same amount of it, the same direction, but just kind of the same general swoosh way. So they're all heading towards my left. So already just with that, they're no longer floating. You can see they're not floating in air anymore. But that's kind of an obvious swish. I'm going to take the bullet tip of my color lifter and get rid of the line. And it is like magic. And if you've not done this before, you can do it like if you have animals. I just don't like when our stuff's floating in air. You know, I guess if you're doing an Aladdin card, or you'd have one of our floating, like our hot air balloons, those things can float. But I just don't like when our things are just floating. This just gives them a little bit more dimension. And it's subtle, like you might not have even noticed it on my card if you saw the card. But now when you go back and look at it, you'll be like, oh yeah, now I see it. It's just a little bit of a shadow. It's not the photography, it's actually the card. And you can go back over to my website, it's stampinonline.com, and look at the still photos, and you'll notice it more in those. But it's not the photography. And the color lifter is perfect for taking the edge out. You can do this with the watercolor pencils. And you can, the nice thing about the pencils is you can kind of swish on. The bad thing is you don't get, like this gives you a nice big swash of color right away. So with your pencils, you kind of have to hold it sideways, but then you can take your eraser and kind of erase a little bit of it out and then color it with your water or your blender pen or however you're choosing. So there we go, those are done. I should have done a before and after just so you could see the difference that it makes. But now they're not floating. It just gives them a little bit of a shadow, a whole lot more of a pretty arty look. So now we just need to run all this stuff through the Big Shot. And the card's almost finished, so it doesn't really take that long. So let's see, what piece do we want to do first? First, let's run these pieces through. So there's a little bow. And the baby. She's so cute. And I know that, you know, we go through stages. So, you know, when you're in a, it seems to be if you're in a stage where you need baby cards, you need lots of baby cards. And if you're in a stage where you need wedding cards, you need lots of wedding cards. So it could be that, you know, you're not in the baby card stage. But if you are in a baby card stage, like if you're hosting baby showers, like think of the cute invitations or even little party games, because when I run this little thing through here, this is the baby blanket and it cuts and scores. Like think of the shower games that you could come up with, the little tic-tac-toe boards that you could make, or the little oh, you know, when my girlfriends were having babies, we had those stupid kind of scary plastic babies that they would give you, you know, the girl and the boy, but you could do some kind of, you know, scavenger hunt, or you could write stuff in these because it's scored. See, it's scored, and you just fold it over, and there's your little baby blankie. So you could do favors, you could put candy in them, you could put silverware in them. There's all kinds of stuff you could do with those. So if you are in the baby phase where you're going to baby showers or hosting baby showers, the set and the dies, I think they're a must-have. Okay, now this one is the scallop, and I did not hook these out after I did my Facebook Live, so let me get these hooked out. This is one where you don't want to do a speed bump through your Big Shot, which means you don't want to roll it this way because it's not good for your die, and it's also not good for your Big Shot. So you want to roll it long way so it goes through more one time. and not this way, because it's not good for your die and it could snap your die. This way it all takes the pressure evenly. And if you do it the other way, you can feel it when it goes through, and you're gonna be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Look how cute that is. You get a little scallop, you get the little, looks just like some baby clothes. And it just takes one pass through. And for the most part, it all comes out. It leaves, every time it goes through mine, it leaves like 2 of those little things in there. So now I need to stick it all together. I have ink all over my hands. I did my Facebook Live and I washed it off. And then I did one of the things I did on my Facebook Live and I didn't wash it off. So apparently I've got ink on something today that's transferring over to my hands. So let's get the gingham on here. And I debated whether big or small. And you know, this is one of those designer series papers that every time you flip it over to put your adhesive on, you're like, ah, because you think you've made up your mind, and then you see the other side and you're like, oh, I could go the other way. And I have trimmed this bigger. Normally I do 4 by 5 1/4 for my layers, but because I wanted to see as much of the gingham as I could, I did it a little bit, a 1/4 of an inch bigger both ways. So then this is gonna go on the pool party. And it allows you to see, that was why originally I didn't have this on pool party, but you couldn't really notice the scallop as much. And that's gonna go on there, but of course I'm gonna add some ribbon, and I am so low, I'm almost out of tulle ribbon. How does that happen? I order it all the time. Okay, and then on this one ran through pretty well. On the other ones, I've been trimming this right here, but I got that one pretty good. Because you don't want a lot of white gap right here between the baby and her head, but that one actually, the Big Shot did a pretty good job. So I don't need to trim that one at all. So then stick her little bow on. Make sure it goes ear to ear. And if she is not just the sweetest little thing you ever did see. And then I know she's supposed to go like all the way down in here, so you just see her head, but I don't want to lose all of her, So I put some adhesive on it and I stuck her a little higher than she's supposed to be. Like here. So you can still see her hands in some of her onesie. And then you're going to stick her in the middle. So see, it doesn't matter exactly if you don't need a headband right in the middle. And then I didn't want to tape her shut because I still wanted, you know, if there was a chance that you could see in the middle there. So I'm going to use the very last of my tulle until my order comes. Oh, no, maybe I haven't. Oh, no, this is my vanilla. That's why, because when I looked at my tulle before, I was like, oh, it's almost gone. And seriously, I go through, if you watch my videos, I go through spools and spools and spools of this stuff. Spools. And it can't, we go through it. So look, this is exactly how much we're going to have, because this is exactly how much I have left. It's a very sad day in the Storkovich household. It means all of the stamping I do next week, because I looked and I do have one more order coming. So I guess there is, because I normally try to put one on every order, and I had 3 unopened boxes sitting here and not in any of them. But you know, it was, this last few orders has all been getting the dies and stuff that we're selling out. So I guess somewhere in Celebration 2019 Apocalypse, I forgot that I needed to get tulle. Look, it's going to be just the right amount. So I wrapped it behind. But everything I create next week, we may have to go tulle-less. It's going to have to be like Stampin was back in my life in 2017. I don't even remember what that was like. And not only that, because I've been so addicted to this ribbon, I have found that I've been slacking in buying other ribbon. Although I do have the ombre, I'm kind of partial to it. And I like the white flax. It just, nothing ties